Good evening and welcome to Weather Fans Live here on Saturday, the 11th of July 26. And it's been another hot week across the UK as heatwave number 3 continues for many areas. A bit of a cool down in the next few days for some areas, especially in the east. But will the heat return? We shall take a look. It's going to be a quick live this evening. So I'll be doing a few things in about an hour's time. So yeah, I'm going to make this around about half an hour this evening. So it's going to be a short one. Just going to quick put my head into the chat and just see who's in with us. And yeah, that's why the live is just a bit earlier today as well. It's the 7:30 starts there, the 8. So the first person in this evening was Laura. Good evening to you. Hope you're well. Good evening to Audio Coffee. Hope you're surviving in this heat or just about. Good evening to Suit. Hope you are well, my friend. Good evening to our mod Paul James. Make sure you're on your best behavior in the background, please. Good evening to Dog Training. Luckily, England versus Norway is not until 10 o'clock. Please, it's not at 1 o'clock in the morning this time. I had to miss the last one because I had work the next day. The cladding on the outside of my property will turn this heat for several days. Probably need a good damper to cool it down. Currently got another fans running. You'll have to shout up. Okay, audio. I can't speak too loudly because my daughter's asleep on the floor above me. But again, the football probably about the same level to what I'm speaking now anyway. Right. So yeah, speaking of thunderstorms, there is actually a few showers affecting northern areas. Let me just check, have a look at the radar. So they may have dissipated in the last hour or so. We did have 1 or 2 in northern England yesterday, but that soon went away. There is, if I can find the radar. Let's bring up the screen share so you can see what I'm looking at. Fields and parks are all brown now. Yeah, the grass is turning colour here as well. And doesn't look like there's much rain around for the foreseeable. I think in the last month there's a weather observation actually near me, which was actually the top temperature yesterday of 35.1 in Coton in the Elms. That was reading about, I think, about 6 millimeters in the past month, which is nothing really. I'm the person who yells at clouds and begs them to stay. You might see a bit overnight. We'll have a look at that in just a few moments' time. What was I going to do? Yes, screen share. Let's have a look at the latest. Let's put that to full screen. Let's get myself off there. So this is the latest satellite imagery from Sat24. It's the radar and the clouds. So you can see we've actually got a few showers up towards Cumbria. We're slightly moving southwards over towards Cumbria. I think there's been a few little thunderstorms. Have I got the light detector on this? I have. Let's see if that's pinging up anything. Not showing up on there. Let's take a look, see if there is actually anything showing. So there's nothing, no lightning been detected in the last half an hour. So those thunderstorms might be just starting to ease now, looking towards Cumbria. So you can see many areas under clear skies away from northern and parts of eastern areas. We've got this cloud here, just what you could say cloud, and I think the classes count as HAR, affecting some Norfolk coast and Lincolnshire coast there. Overnight tonight, that cloud will start to build and build inland as well. So waking up tomorrow morning, It could be cloudy first thing, but in the first few hours, the sun will soon get to work and burn that off. We've got this easterly wind, northeasterly wind coming off the North Sea, just dragging this cloud in, and it starts to make these eastern areas much cooler. The heat has shifted towards the west across the country, hence why these eastern areas are getting cooler with the wind coming off the North Sea and much more cloud. Plenty of cloud over Scotland at the moment, not really shifting at all. All right, let's move over and have a look at the latest. So I'm under a hosepipe here, but a ban. Hosepipe ban here. I think we could all do being under a hosepipe right now, couldn't we? Been several fields and wildfires in the areas over the past few days. Oh dear. Well, then again, the ground is so dry at the moment. Watched Gordon's video about the fog over Blackpool. Admit I was a touch jealous. I think I might have seen this little snippet. I've not watched the whole lot myself. No hosepipe ban here, but won't be too long. So just amazing to think that only 5 months ago we was talking about constant floods. I think the flood their field just below me, I think flooded about 4 or 5 times over last winter. But it could be the changing climate where during the winter time we're going to be seeing floods, and during the summertime we could be seeing dry conditions and perhaps even drought, like not drought conditions, but hosepipe bans because of the dryness. But we'll see, obviously, in the coming years. But our climate is warming up, obviously. Well, let's crack on and have a look at the latest facts charts from the Met Office. So at the moment, we've got high pressure set towards the northwest of the UK. We've got this northeasterly coming in off the North Sea, dragging in a bit more clouds. We've got these weak weather fronts across the north, which are triggering a few showers, which we've just seen across northern areas. But what will happen overnight, there's where the fronts will just completely get drained out of whatever precipitation is left in them. Then we've got high pressure still sitting up towards north of Scotland, but still bringing the wind off the North Sea, perhaps slightly changing more to a slight southeasterly, but we've got low pressure down to the waters of Bay of Biscay. And these, as we get into Monday, could throw up a few showers for some southern areas, but notice the tightly packed isobars, so we could see quite a strong breeze coming in from the east, which will probably feel quite pleasant, especially if you're not a fan of the heat. So we could be holding up temperature. We'll see the temperature still into the mid to high 20s. We could see another 30 on Monday, and the heat wave will continue for some areas. I think we currently have had about 7 days in a row where temps have been above 30 degrees. That looks like it could continue into the start of next week. Going into Tuesday, high pressure still set up towards the north of the UK, still bringing that easterly wind. Low pressure over Iberia still sits there. Again, there's just a hint there of more showers, perhaps affecting some southern areas. Then heading into Wednesday, high pressure starts to move a little bit further east. There's a bit of a split in the high pressure. We've got one out towards the mid-Atlantic. Got this one slowly heading up towards Scandi. So the potential we could start picking a bit of a southeasterly, which that could bring in more in the way of hot air or warm hot air in the southeast, and we could see this temperature start to creep back up again into next week. Let's have a look at the latest GFS run. Let's have a look at the sea level pressure charts. Then we'll have a look at the upper airs afterwards. Say what? Let's do two for the price one. Let's have a look at the upper air and the sea level pressure charts. So let's go through into tomorrow. It's high pressure up towards the north, bringing in this, I was already mentioned, this wind coming off the North Sea. See the cooler air affecting some eastern areas. Still hold on to the hotter air towards the south-southwest. Going into next week, into Tuesday, still got that threat of that low pressure down towards the Bay back there. Let's get my teeth in the Bay of Biscay. Still bringing in that strong easterly wind through into the start of next week. Again, with a slow pressure down towards the southwest, could still throw up a few showers. That hot air isn't too far away from the country. Just takes a slight adjustment for southeasterly before we could tap into that again. And there is hints of that happening again as this high pressure starts to move more towards the east, and we'll start to tilt the winds back into a southeasterly. What happened beyond that into next weekend? Well, we're still under high pressure. Let's go back there. We're still under high pressure, but it could be signs. Maybe a few showers could break out as pressure starts to weaken. It's not until we get into the start of next week start to see some cooler conditions move in as high pressure builds across the UK, but that hot air starts to get pushed back into the near continent. And this is showing again the heat could build up again from the southwest, actually going into days 9 and 10 with high pressure back over the Azores. And the heat still over across Western Europe. Got the 20 degrees firm trying to push back in, but we've got low pressure up towards Iceland, so that could affect northern areas. And there was some hints actually of some of the computer models that we could see a bit of a northwest going into next weekend. But this is not really showing it actually on this latest run from the GFS. It still keeps the heat very close to the southeast corner, especially at 20 degrees therm. But we're going to start seeing this is showing a bit of a temperature difference there between northern Scotland and southeast England. That looks like about a 10 to 15 degree temperature difference. So let's have a look at these temperatures. It's next week. So there were hints of cooler conditions moving in next weekend to bring in a north westerly. But that's not really showing too much on this. So let's turn that off there. See what these temperatures showing for the latest run of the GFS. So let's go through to tomorrow. Just want to make sure I'm still streaming this because I don't want to be talking when I'm not showing any charts. Yes, we're still got this on the screen. So again, temperatures tomorrow still showing into the 30s towards southern and southwestern areas. Could peak around about 33, 34 towards Somerset, perhaps into Devon as well. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, parts of northern England, some eastern areas of England, temperatures will be held back due to the clouds and that wind coming off the North Sea. Going into Monday, still cooler towards eastern areas, but the heat just a few degrees lower and peaking perhaps somewhere along the M4 corridor. Still around about 30, 31 is possible on Monday. There's still that threat of maybe some thunderstorms or heavy showers, maybe for some southern areas. Going into Tuesday, then the signs there, perhaps the heat starts to build again towards southern areas. We've got the heat building across France as well, getting into the upper 30s. But still for some eastern areas, with the wind coming off the North Sea and some northern areas as well, temperatures around into the low 20s. Elsewhere, we're looking at the upper 20s, low to mid 30s towards the south. Going into Wednesday, And again, the heat continues. How long will we see a continuous run of 30 degrees? So we're already on day 7 or 8 right now. So this could be an exceptional heat wave continuing for many areas. And this is where we start seeing the winds tilt more of a southeasterly. So the heat will be distributed back to further north again. And much of the UK are well into the 20s. As we head into next Thursday, the 30s are creeping up again across much of the Midlands, perhaps into North Wales, into Northwest England, and Northeast England as well, up into the 30s. Talking about mid-20s across much of Scotland, away from the Highlands, probably perhaps around about 22 degrees. But there we go, 33, 34, maybe 35 degrees again for some areas. Going into Thursday, into Friday, again, many areas into the mid to high 20s or low to mid 30s across much of central southern England. And again, there's shown a bit more of a decrease in temperature. There could be more in the way of cloud perhaps around on Saturday, but the heat still continues. We're still seeing 30s across the board. And going into start of next week, again next Sunday, widely into the 30s across much of England and Wales. Looking a bit cooler up towards the north there. That's perhaps where we start seeing first signs of a change across Scotland. And there's a bit more or less heat going into days 10 and 11. But look at that heat building yet again over France, where temperatures are getting into the low 40s. Just quickly run through the temperatures here, because we did see that big difference between the north and south. So temperatures getting into 15, 16 degrees across the northwest of Scotland. And this is showing temperatures getting into the mid to high 30s. So how high are these temperatures expected to go with this? So again, I don't think I've seen temperatures below like 25 degrees for much of England and Wales throughout this whole run, which is incredible. So you've got your classic northwest, southeast split there. Temperatures 12, 13 degrees up towards northwest Scotland, and looking around about 36, 37 towards the southeast, getting into obviously 13, 14 days away. Does that continue to keep that heat? Yes, but that temperature difference is extraordinary from about 11, 12 at northwest Scotland and up to 38 towards the southeast. Look at these temperatures over France here. That is ridiculous. Showing 47 degrees there. That is extortionate. And it looks like it's towards right at the end of this run there. If obviously this was to come off, a long way off yet, we could be seeing like a breakdown here across much of England and Wales, away from the southeast corner. Our temperatures could be up in the upper 30s, but we could have rain, thunderstorms, could have the kitchen sink thrown at you there with the breakdown of that heat. So this hot July is still continuing with this model run. It's not until we get to literally the last couple of runs where temperatures look like they're cooling down. But we shall see. So put my head back into the comments. I do apologise for me going quite quickly and try and make it a short one tonight. So I'll pop out very shortly. What am I seeing there? Some ice cream vans in London are charging up to £7 for a 99 cone. Blinking heck. My ice cream man that comes around here charges, I think, about £2, £2.50, I think. I normally get the pots because it's better for my daughter. And she's not really a fan of the cones either. £7. I know when the special events go on in our town, like the Castle Grounds, some charge about £5. Even that I thought to be expensive, but £7 for an ice cream 99 cone. That is daylight robbery. Good evening to Anne Smith. I hope you are well this evening and not suffering too much with the heat. So yeah, more wildfires and extended house pipe ban with that. Yeah, if it was to come off, I hope Thunder Breakdown happens next weekend. Me too. I've also said this is why I always work in a chilled environment because I don't do heat. Mid-20s is about enough for me, but mid-30s, it's getting too much. Well, at least we can't say we're not had a summer this year, can't we? What we're going to next, I'm going to rattle on and head over towards the look at ECMWF weekly anomaly charts. So what we looked at was the latest GFS. We'll normally look at a couple of runs on that, but I've just got shorter time this evening. So these are the weekly anomaly charts from the ECMWF. This was run yesterday. This is for the 13th of July through to the 20th of July. And like we've seen with the GFS, we've got high pressure up towards the north. We've got lower pressure out towards Biscay. This is bringing an easterly wind. This is showing up for much of this week. And let's have a look through to the 20th through to the 27th of July. And this is also showing that northwesterly flow got high pressure out towards the west. We'll see a bit more of a northwesterly flow. There's actually low pressure out towards Scandi. So with that flow, we should see cooler temperatures with this. The 27th of July through to the 3rd of August. We've got high pressure down towards the south. That would bring in more, probably an extension of the Azores High, to be honest. So that would bring more of a southwesterly. Still keeping things quite dry. It could be cooler, wetter conditions maybe for northern areas, but more dry towards the south. The 3rd of August through to 10th of August, we've got higher pressure across the UK. If that's to sit there, we'll look perhaps east to southeasterly, so we could bring in that hot air again from nearby Europe. The 10th of August through to 17th, high pressure out towards the southwest. Could be that was come off, perhaps bringing in a wind from the North Sea again. Then 17th of August through to 24th, extension of the high pressure up towards Greenland. There could be shallow low pressure of the UK. Could be a bit of a mixed bag with that one. There's no clear signal there as we're heading towards the middle of August. Same charts, but the precipitation. God, people that want rain, please look away now because I don't think there'll be too much on this. When it eventually loads. I think I had these issues last week as well, actually. Let's try that again. It's slowly loading, I do apologise. So the precipitation for the 13th through to the 20th of July, we're looking much drier than average. The 20th of July through to the 27th of July, we are looking at drier than average. Same for the 27th through to the 3rd of August. Drier than average towards the south. We're looking a bit more wet than average, perhaps for some western areas of Scotland. The 3rd of August through to 10th, we're looking drier. Then around about average to slightly drier for the 10th to 17th. I'm looking around about average for the 17th to 24th of August. And the same charts again, but this time looking at the 2-meter temperatures. Just give it a few moments to load up. There we go. So for this coming week, 13th of July through to 20th of July, we're looking 3 to 6 degrees above average for many areas. And through 20th of July through to the 27th, we're looking around about 1 degree to 3 degrees above average. Same again for the 27th to the 3rd of August. and it's just continuing through the end of this run. So looking at that, there's no clear signal there of anything cooler on the models. So we could see temperatures still into the 20s. So I've got to say, I think the summer's up there with one of the hottest ones we've had. And it could be shattering or even beating the summer of 76 was a possibility. We've already broken the record of the amount of days of temperature over 34 degrees. I think the previous record, was about 7 days. And so far, as of, on Thursday, I think we've already on to day 8 and possibly day 9 as well. So, yeah, this long hot summer is continuing. Just the farmers, really, they want rain, but we just can't give them any. 1976, we never had this humidity, especially over that last heat wave we've had. But actually, where I'm located here in Tamworth, with our nearest station that recorded the highest temperature in the UK yesterday, actually that temperature was actually higher than what we had during the last heat wave. I think it beat it by about 0.3 degrees. So yeah, we reached 35 degrees here yesterday, but thankfully, I think it might be around about 29, 30. Thankfully. Right, I'm going to end that UK bits here. We're just going to quickly have a look at the, look stateside like we normally do every week. Then I'll be winding it down perhaps in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So let's head over. One for the record books. Winter berries are going to suffer this year. I noticed that the brambles where you get like your is it not blackberries? Yes, I think blackberries. Yeah, getting a lot of them coming out. I think quite early. Normally they come out around about August, September, but they're starting to almost come out now. Left them perhaps under a bit of stress because of all the heat we've had. But some of the trees, they may have started to shred their leaves already. And we're in the middle of about the middle of July. So I think the trees are really suffering at the moment with the lack of rainfall. And how hot it's been recently as well. My apple tree has decided to produce some more flowers. Is that what normally happens, or do they usually do a bit later on? Is that actually? I'm going to put myself full screen there. That looks like it needs to be extended a bit more. That's better. Wonder why I was in a PIP, picture in picture. They flower in March. So has this happened before? They've actually flowered in middle of summer. It's saying it's warm, but all the brambles here are emerging cooked. Yeah, and one of our garden centres just on the outskirts of the town saying, if you want your potatoes for Christmas, it's best to plant them now. And I decided to comment back saying, by the end of summer, they'll be turning into more roast potatoes than potatoes. Enjoy the England vs Norway tonight. See you all soon. Take care, Suit. Hope you have a nice week. Stay safe in the heat and try and keep cool. I've never seen apple tree flower in July. Oh. Have you had any apples from that tree already, or is it just doing it again? Oh. Well, let's quickly go through the Storm Prediction Centre and then the National Hurricane Centre, then we'll head off. So I've got to pop out in the next 20 minutes or so. Oops. Oof. And then knocked us off the live then. Right, so let's get myself off full screen and bring up the Storm Prediction Centre. So this is from today. There is a slight risk out at the moment, which affects 24 million people. The likes of Memphis, Charlotte, Oklahoma City, Nashville, and Tucson. I need to get a drink, but I don't have one. So today's summary. So today's threat, there's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms for Oklahoma into the lower Mississippi Valley, Tennessee Valley, and southeast and across southern Arizona. Thunderstorms capable of producing scattered severe damaging winds will be possible this afternoon and evening from parts of the southern plains eastward into the lower Mississippi Valley and southeast. Scattered severe wind gusts are possible over southern Arizona late this afternoon through this evening. Let's have a look at the hail threat on that. Not really much of a hail threat. More of a wind threat with this one, and tornado is very limited with this setup. Going into day 2. There's just over 11.5 million people in the Selite and under 36 million in the marginal. So the setup on that is scattered strong to severe thunderstorms capable of producing wind damage will be possible across much of the southeast on Sunday. With the greatest potential across southern Carolina, additional strong to severe thunderstorms will be possible across portions of Arizona late Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. Day 3 looks like this. So there's just a marginal risk there for southeastern areas, which affects 8.5 million people. Days 4, there's actually perhaps a risk there for the far northeast of America. And day 7, there's a possibility for some eastern areas. So already there's actually a watch out for those eastern parts for day 4, and unusually for day 7 as well. So we'll sure find out more about that in the next few days. And finally, over towards America. Good evening to Froglegs Matthew. Hope you're well this evening. Excuse me, my throat's getting a bit dry now. So the quiet season continues for the Atlantic hurricane season. We've had one named storm, but that only lasted for a day or so, and that's affected parts of the Texas and Louisiana coastline. Around about, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, actually. But yeah, the El Nino is really affecting the hurricane season right now. It's stopping anything really producing across the Caribbean. And it'll be interesting how this will look in September, where it peaks. Definitely probably up there for one of our quietest seasons. The Pacific, on the other hand, well, it's quite busy there at the moment. Well, let's have a look at these yellow ones first. So, disturbance number 1, a trough of low pressure located 700 miles south of the Hawaiian Islands, is producing a small area of showers. Further development of the system appears to be diminishing while it moves generally westward across the central Pacific, remaining well south of the Hawaiian Islands. So in the next 48 hours, a 0% chance and 30% for the next 7 days. Meanwhile, the one behind it, a trough of low pressure located 700 miles southeast of the Hawaiian Islands is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear favorable for gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression could form by mid next week, while it moves generally westward across the central Pacific, remaining well south of the Hawaiian Islands. So transformation in the next 48 hours is 10%, and over the next 7 days is 40%. On to this one, disturbance number 3. A tropical wave located well southwest of the Baja California Peninsula is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Some slow development of the system is possible while it moves slowly west to northwestward. Transformation in the next 2 days is 10%, and over the next 7 days is 20%. And finally, disturbance number 4. An area of low pressure is expected to form An area of low pressure is expected to form over the next couple of days, several hundred miles southwest of the southwestern coast of Mexico. Environmental conditions appear favorable for gradual development thereafter. The tropical depression is likely to form by mid next week, while the system moves generally west-northwestwards. Formation chance in the next 2 days is 20%, and for the next 7 days is a high 80%. So we can have our next named storm perhaps met by Tuesday, Wednesday, but that will stay out to see. So yeah, it's not looking too bad across America. Just perhaps more summer setup across America. But here in the UK for the coming week, we could be seeing temperatures rising again into the low 30s. Once we lose that wind coming off the North Sea, there could be a few showers for southern areas, maybe a few thunderstorms for southern areas over the next few days. For hot air, looks like it's due to come back during the middle part of next week. Still remain hot across much of the country. I think the run of 30 degrees will continue through the next few days and well into next week, and it could be through to next weekend as well. So there's not really any signs of relief of this heat. We'll be cooler towards the east over the next few days, but then we'll start to lose the wind coming off the North Sea as it switches more to the southeasterly and the heat returns once again. Did you hear about the heat down building of America? I haven't, no. I'm not really looked at any weather for America after the last week or so. Excuse me. Right. What are we next Saturday? We should be back next Saturday from 8 p.m. We should be back to our normal time next week. I'm not aware of me doing anything next Saturday evening. As Matthew said, good luck to the England later. Kickoff, I think, is at 10 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. I'll just verify that. So, yeah, 10 p.m. So, good luck to England in that. Actually, I do apologise for the short live tonight, but I've got to pop out in the next 20 minutes or so. So please stay safe in this heat. Try and keep yourself as much cool as you can. And just be aware of the high UV levels. But if you're in eastern areas, it'll feel a bit cool with that wind off the North Sea. Right, I'm going to grab myself a drink. Thank you to Paul James keeping our proceedings. And thank you all for watching. And take care, stay safe. And I shall see you next Saturday from 8 p.m. If there's a change, then I'll try to let you know across our socials. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.